what's going on over there. So, you know, they sold the people that they did have weapons of mass destruction. Like I said, after they got in there and found nothing, then they tried to justify it going in there by saying, you know, they're going to take down a evil regime and take down Saddam because he was an evil man. But again, he had control of that country. The terrorists weren't running crazy through there like they are now. So again, that was another mistake, and the Bush administration doesn't want to admit that they made a mistake.
Now, when we find, because you know, all this information in this article is hindsight. Everything that we've learned since they're going into Iraq, and like you mentioned, them not finding any weapons of mass destruction, them finding Saddam, convicting him in his own country, and then subsequently putting him to death in his own country.
Yes.
I mean, why is it that you think, and this is totally opinion, that the American people aren't in more of an uproar over what these cats in this administration have perpetrated?
Well, again, I think the Bush administration, they did a real good job with playing on the hearts of the American people by saying, oh, let's support our troops.
Right.
So that the American people, we don't want to, like with Vietnam, when the troops came home, they were shunned, they were spit on, you know, they weren't welcome with open arms. Like when our troops come home today from the Iraq War, you know, they're greeted as heroes. You see them walking down in the malls, or you see them at your local bars, or anywhere in the cities that they live in. They're treated like heroes. And the American people do want to back our soldiers. We do want to back our military, and we support our military. So the Bush administration is playing on that, on that fine line right there. And we're not supporting Bush and his administration to go to war. We're supporting our soldiers, and we want our soldiers to come home, but we also want them to be safe and let them know that we support them.
Right.
So it's just a crazy thing how the Bush administration can make us think one thing when they're going another. And like you said, we saying in hindsight that the war was a mistake. That's to the public. The Bush administration knew going in.
Right.
You know, the senators, they knew before they went in there that the information that they had was very weak. Even after they got into the war, they announced that they didn't have any intelligence on the ground. They didn't have any people to speak Arabic to infiltrate those. To infiltrate Saddam's regime. So we really didn't have any information on there. So they knew before we went in that the information we had was weak. But they made us believe it was strong, and they're still making us believe the same thing.
Absolutely. And I think that, you know, as the American people, I think that by nature, of course, you don't want to think for a moment that your government would do something as sinister as, you know, making up intelligence in order to go and fight and kill thousands of people. You know what I'm saying? For oil. I think that's probably part of you know, our consciousness as human beings, that we wouldn't ever want to think that someone could be so sinister. But obviously they are. Now, another point that comes to my mind when we talk about this war on truth in the Bush administration is our brother Colin Powell, who was the former Secretary of State, and who really, the paper puts it in a way that he tarnished his reputation by telling really what it amounted to be straight up lies. And let me see if I can find it here. Okay, it says, according to the report, on February 5th, 2003, in an address to the United Nations Security Council, Colin Powell said, "What we're giving you are facts and conclusions based on solid intelligence. I will cite some examples, and these are from human sources." As it turned out, however, two of the main human sources to which Mr. Powell referred to had provided false information. One was an Iraqi con artist codenamed Curveball, whom American intelligence officials were dubious about and, in fact, had never even spoken to. The other was an al-Qaeda detainee, Ibn al-Sheikh al-Libi, who had reportedly been sent to Egypt by the CIA and tortured, and who later recanted the information he had provided. Libby told the CIA in January 2004 that he had decided he would fabricate any information interrogators wanted in order to gain better treatment and avoid being handed over to a foreign government. Now, when Colin Powell gave that statement, you know, because I had some intimate knowledge that the minister had already shared, I'm sitting up there looking at this man on TV saying, damn, brother's just straight up lying. Now, do you agree with that statement that he tarnished his reputation, to say the least?
Well, I think his presence now speaks volumes. We haven't seen or heard from Colin Powell for over a year now. So you know, and then, you know, you had Rumsfeld had to step down. So all those guys tarnished their reputation. And Colin Powell, he really had a lot of respect, especially in the black community and in the military community. And now you don't see him anymore. There's no more Mr. Colin Powell in the public eye anymore, because he has tarnished his reputation with the military and with the public, with the United States people. So, you know, he tried to do his best in backing Bush, but he only backed lies. You know? So if you back the truth, you're going to stand up and you're going to be present. But when you back a lie and the lie has come to truth, then you have to step down. You have to get your face out the way, and that's exactly what Colin Powell has done. I haven't seen or heard from Colin Powell in years. Exactly.
And, you know, of course, again, hindsight is 20/20. But, you know, there were a lot of reports that came out, you know, in regards to Colin Powell and his actual relationship with Rumsfeld and with Cheney, and how they were actually banging. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't wonder why I don't see him now, but it was just amazing to me that, you know, a person like Colin Powell, who's known for his integrity, who's known for being a stand-up soldier, who's standing on truth, how he would go along with the Bush administration and fabricate that evidence and really present it to the whole world, because he's the one who actually presented the case to the UN. So that just blew my mind.
Well, I kind of give Colin Powell a small bit of credit, because after he saw that the truth came out and that he was part of lies, and, you know, who knows how much he really knew and how much was fed to him, he gracefully stepped away.
Right.
Whereas in Rumsfeld, he just tried to stay in there and tried to deny the lie and tried to he put a lie on top of a lie and kept going and going with it till finally the people said, you know, we're calling for your resignation. And, you know, Congress came and called for Rumsfeld's resignation, whereas in Colin Powell just kind of gracefully stepped down. So I do give him a small bit of credit for doing that. But, you know, you can't deny a lie is a lie. And, you know, we found out that going in there were no weapons of mass destruction. And what makes it even more, I guess, significant is that they lied and said they were getting the uranium from Africa.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
so it was, they implicated someone else in the lie, not just Iraq. They threw some other countries in there with that. So it's just an unfortunate thing for Africa that they were put into that pot with Iraq and the whole lies that went on with the whole thing.
But yes, sir. True indeed. Now, tonight is Tuesday, February the 5th, which is what we've dubbed as Super Tuesday. And so all around the country, we got caucuses and primaries going on to select the Democratic and the Republican candidates, which leads to my next question. Because the Democrats in 2006 came in on a mandate saying that they were going to bring the troops home.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because this thing had been going on for 3 and 4 years at that time. And so they were voted in overwhelmingly, and the Republicans were put out of both houses. And so now the Democrats control both houses, the Senate and the House of Representatives. Now, why haven't they gotten the troops out of Iraq?
There's a lot to that. Again, I mean, we've made such a mess of Iraq that it's just hard to pull out right now.
Right.
And especially when, you know, all that happened, they couldn't just up and leave because the whole region was in uproar.